What's interesting about picking up new habits, learning new skills, and really sort of launching yourself into this path of improving your life, improving your lifestyle, your health. And I mean, it's not just specific to fitness and health, but it is something that's very common, is that a lot of people feel this sort of awkwardness when they're first starting. It's this unsureness of if they're doing the right thing. They're trying these new things, it doesn't quite feel right, whether that's an exercise or a new way of eating or a new way of trying to get some sleep, whatever might be the case. But in either way, the unfortunate and fortunate thing is that awkwardness is both necessary and a barrier to success in learning. It's a barrier because people don't like the feeling of awkwardness. They try to avoid it with all costs. And this is probably why so many people wait so long before they get started. And this is why I'm such an advocate of just jump in and get it going. Because it's necessary for success. You have to go through that awkward learning phase. You have to learn the things that don't work. You have to feel a little bit out of your comfort zone. You have to be able to master that stuff. Because if you're not growing. That success is just outside of what your current comfort zone is, what you're currently doing. Because if you were doing the thing that was going to get you to success, then you would get the results you're looking for. But at the moment that you've really admitted to yourself you're not getting the results you want, you have to also accept the fact that it's going to feel a little bit awkward. Because being awkward, feeling awkward is both necessary and, as I said, a barrier to success and learning. It's like you're creating these new neurons, you're learning these new skills, you have to do it. And it's not smooth like some of the things you're already doing. It doesn't become second nature like maybe driving is at this point, or some things at your job. It's like when you first, let's say, had a kid, or maybe you first learned how to ride a bike, or whatever it is. You have to go through that awkwardness of learning, making mistakes, feeling like you're not sure about if it's working or not. And that's because your body and your brain really is creating these new neural pathways. The neural pathways that you're creating have to kind of override the old ones. Because no matter what, your brain, your body likes to go down back to the default, likes to what it's always done, because it's sort of grooved those neural pathways the best. And that's why it feels awkward to try to make new skills and new neural pathways. But you have to create these new neurons. Otherwise, you're not going to get new results. And the first few times are actually very important when you're starting to create these new neurons, because it's a matter of teaching your brain how you want to act, whether it's an exercise or this skill set at the kitchen table or getting to bed, whatever it is, right? And if you get it right the first time, you're going to succeed, because you're going to be able to build off of that. And this is why I'm such a proponent for just starting off with the minimal amount of change as possible, because you can master it. And that's, as I said, the first few times you do something is probably the most important. You start to develop, get better at that neural pathway, and then start adding some stuff on. So many people add too many things all at once. And maybe at the beginning you kind of like force your way through it, motivate your way through it. But in times of stress, what ends up happening is your brain and your body go back to default. And the default usually is the behaviors that got you to the point where you're trying to move away from. Maybe it's stress eating. Maybe it's avoiding going to get exercise. Maybe it's cutting back on your walks with the dog. That's what happens. That was what was happening to get you to the point you said, okay, that's it. I want to get away from this. So you have to be prepared to feel awkward. You have to be prepared to learn new things and not feel 100% on it. And this is this whole growth mindset that I've talked about before. You have to be okay with feeling awkward. There's nothing wrong with it. It's necessary to improve, but you can't let it be a barrier anymore. Because as I said, if you are not creating these neurons, not okay with feeling awkward with that, you're going to continue going back to your default. And your default is what you're trying to get away from, because the results from that default is not what you're looking to get. And as I said, so many people sort of throw all this stuff at these new plans, and then as soon as life gets a little bit stressful, they default to these old habits. Let's not do that. Let's be okay with feeling awkward. Let's be okay with learning new things and developing, honing those skills, add new skills in as you need it. But you have to move towards the awkwardness, not away from it.